So I got this funny comment on YouTube that was like, where the heck did you come from? You're so peaceful in this storm of a world. And while I struggle with, you know, inner peace and everything, just like everybody else does, one thing that may set me apart a little bit is just how I've really chased my own sovereignty and done everything I can to implement every action that I can that keeps me that way. You know, having the space for self-reflection, and most of all through self-expression, writing, whether it's writing the stuff that you hear sometimes on my YouTube channel or writing music. Self-expression is the ultimate way to fight repression in this world where it feels like, nobody cares what's going on inside you, from all the past experiences that kind of reinforce that notion. And the other thing would be really trying to individuate, like, what is a quality life for me? Like, what is a high quality of life? And really going for it. I've lived in all sorts of different places and rented for high prices and had all sorts of financial struggles, just like everybody else, I'm sure. I really sought out sovereignty as like the theme of my quality of life. And I didn't want to be at the mercy of, a landlord. I didn't want to be at the mercy of a traditional boss, working under somebody. Like, that works for lots of people. It just doesn't really work for me, plugging away for an hourly wage. So I did everything I can to create my own reality, start my own business, and I have multiple awesome hobbies, on the side, doing love healing expansion work, one-on-one counseling, doing my blog on Love Healing Expansion Substack, and of course writing my book, Love Over Fear, and lots more writing always coming out, and writing songs for sure, adding a more poetic and symbolic way of writing. 5 years ago, I was just renting a basement suite, didn't have any financial security, and one by one, I just chipped away at every little thing that I needed to build a business. I started buying tools one by one, secondhand, from garage sales, from anywhere where I could get them. I have a background in construction, luckily, so what I did to kind of get my own independence financially is turned myself into my own boss, made my own hours, made my own deals, and there was lots that I didn't know how to do when it came to building, because when you start looking for jobs, all of a sudden you get thrown curveballs, stuff that you're not familiar with. And one by one, I made my way through it and created a really profitable business. And the business gave me the freedom to pursue some of my creative endeavors. There's always a trade-off when you do your own thing, but it really helps me work towards the quality of life that I was really looking for, and just that bit of personal freedom. Rather than working for the wage and having something consistent, it was a lot more of like a feast or famine thing at the start. But now it's a reputable business, and I can take on any job whenever I want, and I can have some time to spend with my new son. The trade-off of quality of life isn't necessarily looking for the glamorous parts of life. I still drive a 1995 Mazda Ranger. you know, it's not glamorous. I live on Salt Spring Island, and I built my own house from scratch. This beautiful little tiny home here. A year ago it was just a flat deck trailer, and now it's a cozy warm spot that houses the whole family of 6. 3 humans and 3 fur babies. This life isn't for everybody, but the point is that I figured out what was really important to me, and I really went for it and did everything I could to make it a reality for me. There's certain things that I've had to give up, luxuries of having a toilet with running water. I don't have a landlord to call for anything that goes wrong in the house. It's up to me to foot the bill and do the repairs if anything needs to happen there. And most of all, I just surrounded myself with positive material. You can go into all of the qualms that happen in the world endlessly. You know, they pretty much infect all of our social media feeds. You can't not know what's happening over the border, across many borders. You know, there's lots of crazy stuff that's happening, and there's always been, you know, there's never been a time of peace on earth, at least in the lifetime that I've experienced. And I'm not expecting for tomorrow to necessarily be a full 180 where everything turns into just a dream utopia. So, you know, you've got to exercise your sovereignty for sure. Expose yourself to what you want to intentionally expose yourself to, and work on expressing yourself in the ways that you want to express yourself. Don't repress anything. It's not about just focusing on the positive. It's about using those negative shadow aspects of ourselves to fuel something positive and spread awareness and spread your journey. Maybe you can help somebody else work their way along their journey. Like I said, it's not a glamorous life, and I don't have a whole ton of followers or mass amounts of income come in, but I live a simple life that works for me and my family. And the simple things are the most important to me. You know, spending time with my wife and my son, my animals, and living out in nature. You know, this is a beautiful place, living on Salt Spring Island on a little farm in a little tiny house on wheels. One of the main differences I see with people is I see a lot of people with so much potential and so many huge dreams inside them that they don't really take little steps every day towards achieving those dreams. While I've got a plethora of dreams that I haven't fully chased to the end of the trail, so to speak, I've made sure to focus on the things that matter to me most and that improve my quality of life, my independence, you know, my energetic sovereignty, so that I can just be the best me that I can be and be evolving and hopefully helping other people along the way, spreading love, breaking down different philosophies like the philosophy of love over fear, and just trying to be a positive influence on the world around me. Anyway, just thought I'd share what's kind of going on in my mind today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you like the content. If you want to chat, I'm here. Hit me up. Peace.